Tonight on News 5 Live, urgent meetings held between the administration of Lima Colada School and representatives of the Ministry of Health, Environment and Education. There are growing concerns over the health of the students and staff due to the stench from the new river. A Coast Guard officer is behind bars for firearm offenses. A well-known street figure is nabbed attempting to illegally enter the USA. A Coast Guard officer is charged with aggravated assault, wounding, and discharging a firearm in public. And there is a mural in the Majestic Alley. A Cuban artist leaves a lasting impression in the city. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
My phone where I used to connect to everybody international and local. That's why with that, I stay on the ground in my phone.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, September 4th. I am Marlene Cuellar. An urgent meeting took place all afternoon in Orange Walk Town involving Lima Colada School and the Ministries of Health, Environment and Education. The school is located near the New River. Over 1,000 students are enrolled. There are health concerns that the children will fall ill since they're being subjected to the stench from the river. Tonight, Chief Education Officer Dr. Carol Babb has confirmed that classes are suspended for the rest of the week as students and teachers have reported feeling ill. Among the symptoms reported are vomiting, nausea, and headaches. School Principal Lenny Umania has told us that many teachers are now complaining of a sore throat. She added that the school's management is also looking at the possibility of relocation. This will likely happen if the situation does not improve by Friday. The ministry will be looking at possible options to facilitate this process. We are informed that the school management will convene Thursday to discuss a way forward. The Ministries of the Environment and Health will continue to assess the situation over the weekend. Today, Dalila Ekal headed to Orange Walk and files the following report.
The administration at Lima Colada RC School mobilized today to take measures as concerns grow over the health of students and staff. The school is located only a few yards away from a very ill New River. Over the phone, Principal Lenny Umania says it's a matter that requires careful thought.
We have started a process that takes, it's not easy, but it must be done. We have contacted the Ministry of Education. We have contacted our managers, and we have also contacted the health department. Everybody is mobilizing already, and some people might say, why wait up to day 3? Sometimes we have to learn to take things on stride so that we do the right decision with the lives of 1,000 and other children too when it comes to education.
Relocating is a possibility, but a delicate situation given the size of the school enrollment.
Relocation, I want, if somebody could give me an answer to that, where I could get these 1,000 plus children and 50 staff members relocated. It's open. We are taking suggestions, recommendations, advice from the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Education and our management will lead us as how to proceed. I know parents get very sensitive. Chaos can be created, but there is a level of control. We are dealing with students. And of course, they'll say, oh, but this is a serious situation. It is. Nobody is taking that off the books.
Umania says they have been closely monitoring the situation since classes resumed on Monday.
On Monday, the environment was livable, was okay. We could manage. Tuesday was not bad. But unfortunately, for some reason today, it is really getting, the smell, the odor has become stronger.
This morning, children enjoyed recess time on the school's football field and all over the compound. They were cheerful, as children should be, oblivious to health dangers in the air that emanate from the river. Large sections of the milky brown waters near the school are now covered with a thick white film. A strong odor similar to rotting eggs permeated in the air in the area of the water. Environmentalists say it's caused by high levels of sulfur bacteria or hydrogen sulfide. Dalila Ekal for News 5.
Coast Guard officer Brian Oriana is behind bars tonight. He has been criminally charged for allegedly attacking Christina Teul, hitting her with a handgun and firing the weapon. Oriana was charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault, 1 count of wounding, and 1 count of discharging a firearm in public. He stands accused of appearing at Teo's residence in the San Martin area of Belmopan on Monday morning and starting a heated argument with her over a dispute involving her brother. The argument escalated with Oriana allegedly pulling out an unlicensed firearm and threatening Teul and firing shots at her son. That's the version of the Teul family, and as they say, every story has 2 sides. Today, Oriana's mother, Rosita Oriana, spoke to the media in defense of her son. According to Rosita, it was the Teuls who started the argument by stoning her son while he was riding by on a bicycle.
So far what I heard that Pedro went to the house on Sunday night. Every time Pedro drink, Pedro go to harass my son. That's something where they go on for over 1 year now. I tell my son, go and report it. But my son no want go report it because he say he don't want to report it because in a family. But that was his mistake. He should have gone and report the issue because watch what happened now.
Mom, do you believe, as these people have said, that your son aggressed the family, pointed guns at them, fired a shot, threatened them the way they're saying that happened?
No, that is a lie. The whole family is well known to the police. My son gone at my auntie house because he from going to drop something for me out here. When he made the pass back with the dispute what happened in the night with Pedro, for his sister, tell his son, see my son they come on a bicycle cross the field. My son made ride my bicycle and stone my son off a bicycle. Brian, that somebody went no trouble, nobody, anybody went no Brian. They left surprised because Brian that one person, he want to help you. Whatsoever you got for do, Brian that one kind person, so I don't know why then they try drag down Brian to this level here, so, and only they know why then they do it. Another thing is my son don't have no firearm. He don't have no firearm. Pedro is the one who have a firearm.
So police found an expended shell on the scene?
They found an expended shell, but they don't find nothing else. Nothing else.
So you're suggesting that the gun that they said that they saw is most likely for them, you're saying?
I don't know where the gun come from. I don't know where the shot come from. Only they know which part the shot come from. As I said, I never made it there.
In November 2018, the remains of 22-year-old Roaring Creek resident Oswald Arnold were found. He had been missing for 6 months and presumed murdered. Arnold's remains were found along the Belize River in Tea Kettle. The cause for his death was never determined due to the advanced state of decomposition, and investigators confirmed that his head had been missing. While the family believes that the remains are those of Arnold, samples were taken for DNA testing. It has been almost 10 months since the morbid discovery, and today, mother Rosita Oriano has not received the results. Oriana says that when she made checks on Tuesday, the results have still not been sent.
The remains still out. We just wait for the DNA to come in back so that, yes, they be sure that that is as well remains.
Okay.
But I stay in contact with the doctor, and he said that so far, up to yesterday I called him and he said nothing no come in yet.
So how long has this been?
So how long they have the remains is from the 8th of November. 8th of November 2018.
What?
I know it is.
What do you know for certain, Mom?
Well, he still have on the same clothes, the same height, everything, and that way I know him by one parent will know a child.
Mom, do you have suspicions as to what happened, how he was killed?
No, I don't have no suspicion, and the only thing is, I want to be honest too, no? The only thing is that I want to find for him remains, and I thank God that they find it, and I'll wait for the result. Whatsoever happened after that, it no matter me. I satisfied with what I have, and that my son remains.
Did you expect the results to take so long to get back to you?
No, I never expected for me to take so long.
Arnold went missing on May 17th. He was last seen at the Iguana Creek Bridge as he set off for an overnight fishing trip with some friends. Raphael Usher, known to friends and family as Raga, succumbed to gunshot injuries he received on July 31st. The Arlington Drive resident was shot on Central American Boulevard that Wednesday night and remained hospitalized at the KHMH until Tuesday when he passed away. Usher was accosted by two persons on a motorcycle who opened fire on him. Despite a very grim prognosis, he clung to life for the better part of 5 weeks. According to Usher's mother, Desiree Young, her son lost his battle after undergoing a 5th surgery. His killers are yet to be apprehended.
Raphael was in ICU for a long time, but doctor said the stomach was real messed up, so there was nothing they can do. But doctor said he was strong, and because he was young, so that must give him time for making me live longer. But doctor said he's dying slowly, and I see it he was dying slowly, but he still don't give up. He still not give up. He stay strong. And he himself me think like he can live. So no more, mom, when I get out of this, I want change. Because he thought that he may live. And I say, Raphael, I say, you have to pray. You need to pray, Raphael. You need to pray. I say, there's nothing else I can do. I tell him, I pray to Jehovah. To Jehovah, heal you and make you come back to me, Raphael. I say, but they're in my hands no more. What surgery will it take too? The 5 surgery will it take?
When you said that he told you that should he pull through this, that he would change, what was he speaking to specifically in terms of his lifestyle?
No, when he said change, because I used to always rail up in him about this hanging out. Raphael, why you go out there? Raphael, no go out there. Raphael, get rid of some of their friends, the night things I used to tell him. I used to like up on the veranda. Make a lot of guys today, they smoke weed on the veranda. And I used to tell them about their friends, all the time. Raphael, you don't need for the other. Raphael, stay home, watch TV, play games, something, But there's so much your mother could do. Mm-hmm.
So were you at the hospital yesterday when you got this news, or was it sent to you?
I was at home when the nurse called. No, no, it wasn't the nurse. It was the unit manager for ICU told me to come in because they need for sales. And I saw my husband was already there, and I told him, I said, hurry, come back for me. Make I hurry come to the hospital. And I saw when I gone, dead. But I know me a dead fan because when I come off the night, I work at hospital. When I come off the night, when I lift up here, blood. I think me stay in the blood. And when I lift up the head, heavy. I say, oh, I feel gone. Mm-hmm.
How are you as a mother coping with this? Seeing your son gradually fade away in that manner?
This morning, I get up and I just started cry. Knowing that they're not the house no more. And night, I hear him sleep and I hear him holler out, Raphael. It's not be a hard thing for me, sir, because Raphael is always around me clean the house. I could get up and do anything more than my daughter. I was missing.
There was a hit-and-run incident on Central American Boulevard this morning where a man riding a bicycle in the vicinity of Joe's Meat Shop was struck by a vehicle traveling in the same direction towards the Cemetery Road roundabout. The identity of the driver of the vehicle is not confirmed, but he failed to render aid to the accident victim, who remained motionless on the pavement. He was transported to the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital where he is undergoing treatment. Belize City Police are yet to issue a formal report on the incident. Coming up, a well-known street figure is sentenced in absentia in court, but he is nabbed attempting to cross illegally into the U.S.
I love fishing.
Criminal figure Brandon Taylor was arrested for attempting to cross into the U.S., but this morning he was convicted in absentia on 2 criminal offenses of unlicensed kept firearm and ammunition. The charges stem from an incident in 2017 when Taylor was reportedly seen walking into a yard, stooping down and placing a Taurus brand 9mm loaded with 17 live rounds of ammunition next to a street. Taylor denied the allegations, and since his trial began months ago, he did not show up for trial on 2 occasions, including today. At the ruling this morning, neither Taylor nor his attorney, Leroy Banner, showed up. Magistrate Emerson Banner found Taylor guilty of the 2 gun-related offenses. 2 police officers testified in the case against Taylor, claiming they saw when Taylor put the gun near the street. After being found guilty this morning by Magistrate Banner, Taylor was lucky to be slapped with 2 fines instead of a prison term. He was fined $3,500, the first fine to be paid by September 30th of this year, and the balance by October 30th, 2019, or in default 3 years on each count. Taylor and Havan Claire, also of Belize City, were nabbed at the Mexican border, and arrangements are being made to deport them back to the country. They're both in further trouble with the law as they are in violation of their Supreme Court bail and are expected to be brought before a judge as soon as they are brought back home. Days after being busted on the firearm and ammunition offenses, Taylor was granted Supreme Court bail in the sum of $8,000, which he met. Claire has been charged for being a member of the George Street gang named Afghanistan Clique. He was granted Supreme Court bail and was released. Bartola Shish, a businessman of San Antonio, Cayo, has been charged with forcible abduction and sexual assault. Shish reportedly abducted a minor on Friday, August 23rd, as she was making her way by the Welcome Center in San Ignacio. The terrified minor recounted to authorities that Shish took her to Belize City in his black SUV, where he attempted to fondle her. When Shish's vehicle came to a stop in downtown Belize City, the minor jumped out and dashed into the Belize Bank, where she got assistance. Shish fled the scene, later to be captured by police. A statutory instrument signed by Minister of Transport Edmund Castro came into effect earlier today, allowing for only 1 regular bus run per day from each bus line entering Belize and returning to Mexico and Guatemala. It comes on the heels of an agreement between the Belize Bus Association and government in light of concerns about international buses operating in Belize. While the favorable outcome was long in the making, Attorney General Michael Parfit says the new SI is effective over a trial period.
The Bus and Taxi Association had certain demands we couldn't give in to just like that. We wanted to keep everything in place which was unacceptable to them. So it takes time for you to negotiate back and forth and to at some point come to a compromise position. It doesn't always take just 2 minutes for that to happen.
So what were those concerns that the tourism industry brought to the table?
Well, their concerns were there are some people who were booked a year in advance with some of the buses who were coming from Guatemala to Belize, for example. They were concerned about the quality of buses, which is a major concern for them. The Bus Association and the Taxi Association have assured us that their quality of buses and transportation will match those that were coming from Mexico and from Guatemala, and that is why we were prepared to give them the trial period to see.
While the statutory instrument has been signed into effect, Castro also expressed concerns over bus operators not living up to an agreement in which they promised to upgrade their buses as well as their transportation operations.
I was also the same minister that met with them and standardized the prices when some of them were collecting $3 to do 50 miles from Belize City to Orange Walk, $3 and $2.50, and to Belmopan, $4, $3, $5. We standardized the entire thing that those that the prices per mile. And the bus operators promised at that time that 1, they would be selling tickets. 2, they would improve on the bus transportation system that they have. 3, make sure that they remove some of the older buses that was breaking down on the highway and that kind of thing. When you go out there, I know the general public still see, I ride my bike. I see them bus operators, and a lot of them were there. They run today, tomorrow, run the camera out there. The morning you are sitting with standees from bow to stand. Come on. They need to live up to the part of the arrangement too, because the general Belizean population are looking out for a better quality of service from them as well. We are accommodating them to take over the tourists coming into our country, whether it's from the northern border, the western border, or wherever. But also the general public out there need a better transportation system.
Huge mats of sargassum continue to gently make its way into this region and ultimately to pristine beaches. The sight and the smell of sargassum have negatively impacted tourist hotspots in the country. The invasive brown algae is causing harm on local ecosystems. In Belize, the sargassum has slowly crept onto several beaches in Placencia and San Pedro. A sargassum task force was created to deal with what is expected to be an annual challenge. The Department of Environment sits on the task force, and Chief Environmental Officer Martin Alegria says that a long-term plan must be devised in order to prevent further damages to the environment and economy.
The more temperature you have, the more rich nutrients that reach the seas. That's what's created all these sargassum blooms. Similar to what we are talking about, the algae bloom, the eutrophication in the new river. Similarly, at a bigger scale, is the bloom of sargassum that then reaches on land. And how we go about addressing that, that's a hell of a task because it is a global scenario. So right now with the small amounts, quote unquote, small amounts coming on mainland Belize, for example, compared to Mexico, that's huge, but in Belize, even the little amount that we are experiencing is costly, very costly, prohibitive sometimes to address. Imagine what would happen 5-10 years from now when the temperatures, God forbid, raises more and you have more blooms and more tons coming on stream in more frequent. Right now we have lulls. It depends on the northerlies or easterly flow. In the next 10-20 years, if we continue the way we are, these algae bloom, these sargassum bloom will be daily. And instead of you spending $1,000 to clean up your side of the beach on a weekly basis, it will be $10,000. We are a member of the Sargassum Task Force. Yeah, we have been collaborating with them in trying to give, suggest solutions, do piloting with these booms that try to divert or trap. We have to plan from now. We know, we got experience now what we have in terms of cost, for example, for cleanup, the tides, the wind directions, those things that we have to take into consideration and plan accordingly. Set aside some funding for hubs for beach cleanup.
The Department of the Environment and the United Kingdom Centre for Environment and Fisheries and Aquaculture Science and the Commonwealth Litter Program have put together a marine action litter plan for Belize to address the issue of scattered trash at sea. This morning, the plan was unveiled to the public at a brief ceremony at the Radisson. Chief Environmental Officer Alegria explains the importance of the plan of action.
Between April and last mid-August, we finalized the National Action Plan for Marine Litter. The components that during all these consultations with private sector, NGOs, government colleagues, we came up with was an action plan with 4 or 5 components. One was public awareness. How do we create that sentiment, that awareness of littering in general, not only marine, because litter that we generate land-based also affects the marine environment. And so that public awareness message we need to integrate, come up with one or a few messages that are coordinated among all sectors of society. A second one is the sea-based sources of pollution, of marine pollution or marine littering, which is ship-generated waste. They did, under this initiative, we did some assessment and surveys of ship-generated waste in Belize, both from the huge cruise ships to the small local vessels, tenders that go around. We have also, which was very critical, the land-based sources of marine litter or marine pollution. And that's where it's important, because whatever we do on land eventually ends up at the sea. In the case of Orange Walk in New River that is on the news right now, that's a good example of land-based sources that eventually will end up as a marine pollution issue.
Since it was tabled in the House of Representatives and read through in its entirety on August 16th, the passage of the National Liquid Petroleum Gas Project Bill has raised serious concerns. Skeptics, including the opposition and the Belize Business Bureau, believe that the new legislation paves the way for a monopoly company to control the importation as well as prices of butane on the local market. It's a legitimate concern in the face of a similar vice-like grip that the Mexican importers are said to have over the LPG industry in Belize. In our one-on-one with Dr. Gilbert Canton, Managing Director of the National Gas Company Limited, we asked if the creation of such a commercial enterprise will also result in complete power over the local industry.
This is not really a monopoly because we're not controlling the whole supply chain. The monopoly that is what is it pretty much exists right now, where the three companies dominate, the oligopoly of the three companies dominate the whole supply chain. They import, the wholesale, and the retail. So they dictate what goes on within that industry. We're putting in a hub. So this hub is going to be set down, and it's an importation hub. And what we're going to do is we're going to tender out from that hub for anybody who wants to supply. We, in our research and our development of our feasibility study and business plan, know there's quite a few players out there that are willing to come in. Carnival, LPG, Geogas, you have Parkland at Sol, you have Puma that's interested in doing from Trafigura, you know, and also you have the two companies that are pretty much importing right now. You have Tomza passing with their ship going to Honduras. You have B-Well passing through the bigger company, the parent company, passing going to Panama and coming on to Salvador. There's all these, you know, so these same people that are operating here can now also supply to the terminal. So, you know, and then what we would do, we then have that supply based on a Mount Bellevue price plus your cost to get it to the terminal. So we will then put out that tender. Who gives us that best CIF, Big Creek price? We'll get that supply.
According to Canton, while the price of wholesale LPG will be regulated, the Bureau of Standards will be responsible for ensuring that the cost of butane at the retail level remains affordable.
So at the depot, all the players are going to be purchasing LPG at the same wholesale cost.
Yes.
However, if they decide to compete against each other, that would be at the retail level?
At the retail level. So what remains, because what we have fixed in the pricing methodology is the wholesale price. Like I explained to you how that is built up to that particular point. Now what has to happen is that they have to have a methodology to see how you arrive at the retail price, which, you know, is the margin that's going to be allowed for the distribution and the commercial aspect of the retail, the selling of it. Once that price is set, that's a margin that they can then compete within. So that's where the Bureau of Standards, with a little bit of the help to go and get their project and all the expertise and knowledge I have, can then fix that where it makes sense for everybody to create a level playing field on that aspect of it, the retail and the distribution and retail aspect of it.
How does this in any way ensure or guarantee that what the consumers would be getting at the retail end would still be viable and still be something that is affordable to the masses?
When we run the models, because of course we wouldn't be doing this if it didn't make any sense. So when we ran the models, we showed that we can build this facility, pay the financing fee to build this facility, and still bring it in lower than what the imputed wholesale price was from the guys who are bringing it across the border. There was a savings in there, along for the consumers.
After the break, traversing the Sarstoon can be risky. We'll tell you what happened on Monday when our crew headed to Graham Creek.
Smart introduces
Competition. Prepárate para la nueva temporada de KTV Latino solo en Canal 5.
On Monday, our news team traveled along with a group to Graham Creek. The journey took them on the Sarstoon and then on to Graham Creek by boat. But as has been established, locals are encouraged to report to the BDF base where they record names and other particulars for persons who wish to travel beyond the base on the Sarstoon. Our team and the others followed that protocol. And while they got a quick glimpse of one of the Guatemalan vessels from a distance, the Guatemalans didn't follow the group. The team traveled on a boat owned by Dennis Garbutt. He's a businessman whose business conducts charter trips and other tourism-related activities off the coast of Punta Gorda. Garbutt is also the UDP's standard bearer for the Toledo East. He says he's all for the protocol and it worked in their favor on Monday.
We had a beautiful boat ride, uninterrupted by the Guatemalans. I think with everything else, we have rules, we have laws. They have their set, they have their views, we have ours. And that is why I'm so proud of my country that we're ending up in the courts to settle this dispute once and for all. But today, we were accompanied by the military through protocols, through process. We stop at that station and we request the assistance of the military. Not because we are afraid, but there is protocol.
Some people feel like, man, this is our territory and we have to tell people when we to go in and when we to go out.
The way I see it is this: you book into a hotel, you fill out your form, you write down your name. I wonder why. That democracy? It is, it comes with rules. If you book a tour with me and I'm taking you out to Mike Island, I write down your name, I write down your contact information, who is the emergency person that I contact. It's only process. I don't see anything wrong with following process.
But if we go to Dangaga, you don't have to do that. If you go to Kaya, you don't have to do that.
Well, I agree with that. And if I come to Sarstoon, I don't have to do that neither. But if the system have it that we need to stop at the base, I could reach as far as Sarstoon mouth, turn around and go right back to PG and I don't have to do nothing. But if I want past the base, the protocol say, stop at the base and tell them who you. I think that's only fair, right?
So I think Belizeans shouldn't have any problem once they follow that. They shouldn't, you don't anticipate.
I am proof of this and you are proof of this. We don't have any problem. We follow the protocols and everything worked just fine and dandy.
On Monday, it was Dennis Garbutt's first time in Graham Creek. While he has worked all his life in the waters in southern Belize, he says he had never ventured into the village before. He says that while the hardship he witnessed must change, he also saw hope and potential in the village. Garbutt says he will use his visit and dialogue to try to lobby for the villagers should he get the opportunity to represent them. Here's what he had to say about his experience.
The experience walking in that muddy water and that journey that only should have took a half an hour, that took an hour plus, was something for me. It showed me the resilience of these people. It showed me that people are hardworking and willing to survive in difficult places, but they're very happy, you know, and that opportunity do exist everywhere in Belize. I was just talking to the kids just now, and it took me back to my childhood days growing up in a remote village in Punta Negra without road connection. And I look at this and I could see the educational opportunity. I am wondering, in my time when I had to go to high school, I had to left the community to go to high school. I look at how will a child from standard 6 move on to get a high school diploma. We definitely need to continue to help. I know the ministry is helping out with some of that, but these are some of the things, the education part jump out at me right away, that those opportunities need to be provided to these people in these remote areas, even more than some of the more developed areas. But then we look at the condition. I haven't heard a vehicle for quite some hours now. You know, the last time I heard one was in PG, meaning that it is so remote from other places. It makes me think about the healthcare services. Imagine a woman having a baby in this particular location. Imagine the hardship going through to get them to a community that could provide that type of service. So I see the need for dialogue, for understanding the dynamics of what is happening here with the people, and that is one of the reasons that brought me here today.
Turning to the leadership fight in the UDP, Patrick Faber has launched his bid for leadership of the party. That convention is set for February of next year. Faber already has a number of colleagues who have openly supported him. But then there are those newcomers like Dennis Garbutt who are not elected but who will be naming delegates to the convention. So we asked Garbutt in whose corner he is. Here's what he had to say.
Well, one thing I look at, we have one leader at the moment, and that man's name is the Honorable Dean Oliver Barrow, no? And the truth of the matter, he's the man that is leading us at the moment. Where that chip fall eventually, that's where I will be with the leadership. As it relates to who I endorse and who I support, I am in good communication with both gentlemen. I think the United Democratic Party have two fine leaders in both of them. And I think whoever is elected as the leader for the United Democratic Party come 2020, February 9th, 2020, I will stand with them.
So both Mr. Saliva and Mr. Faber have reached out to you. Have they asked for your support?
They have both asked for my support, and I am there to support the United Democratic Party to take us to victory.
When we come back, a Cuban artist spruces up Majestic Alley with a mural inspired by faces. The Rotary Club Sunrise Belize and Puma partnered for a scholarship program that this year will benefit 25 students. Today, 5 of the students, Juan Norales, Carlos Norales, Alexia Murillo, Kurt Kelvin, who have been admitted to Anglican Cathedral College, were officially awarded their educational grant. A small ceremony was held at St. John's Cathedral in Belize City. President of the Rotary Club of Belize Sunrise, Dr. Selma Bermudez, explained that the initiative is in line with the club's mandate to promote education.
We have students from going into Standard 5, Standard 6, and high school, and we hope to continue partnering with Puma to continue to see these students all the way to fourth and graduation.
What are the value of the scholarships that were given today?
Well, the scholarships, like you had mentioned, is for 25 students, but the 5 students here are accepted to ACC, so we have from different schools. So it's a tuition scholarship, so it's the price of the tuition that the schools have. We will also help with mentoring, tutoring if need be. So it's all cumulative. Right, yeah. This means everything to a child. I think education is fundamental, and everybody deserves education. So if we can help, that's just what we will do. So I trust that these students will take this opportunity and do good with it.
A Cuban artist has painted a huge, colorful mural in the majestic alley in Belize City. The public painting, inspired by faces and the tropical climate of Cuba and Belize, was done by visiting Cuban painter Carlos Rafael Gonzalez Parpan. It was organized by artist Gilvano Swayze. Today, Swayze spoke with the media to share the artist's thinking behind the mural and how it celebrates the close ties between Belize and Cuba.
He's from Cuba, an island which is Caribbean, which is very Belizean too, and being invited to come and judge the Carnival and having an exhibit at the Image Factory, he wanted to do something that connects Belize with Cuba, right? Something that he could share with the community. For the mural, the inspiration is looking at all the faces. This is his style. Back in Cuba, he usually do large murals, right? So he looked at all the faces and he wanted to do something that reflects and brightens up the community. The image that was here before was very old and was there a long time, so he wanted to put something new that people could reflect on and, I guess, inspired by it.
Coming up after the break, the carnival season is in full swing. We visit the energized mass camps around the city.
60 seconds. When is it 60 seconds?
We experience many changes in life.
a port with a global perspective.
There was an incident during last Friday's Carnival motorcade in which a young child and others were injured. The National Committee for Families and Children says it is appalled at the incident, mindful that this September is the month when children look forward to a wide array of national events that teach them about their heritage, instill love of country, and the sense of duty to contribute to development. The NCSC points to the Children's Agenda and the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which under Article 19 states, quote, that every child has the right to be protected from being hurt and mistreated in body or mind, unquote. The committee also appeals to the public the importance of keeping a watchful eye on children during the September activities. It is Carnival season. It all leads to the anticipated road march this Saturday, starting from the Central American Boulevard and ending at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex in the city. It means that mass camps are all geared up. Titans showed off its splendor last week, but it is not competing. So on Tuesday, we made our rounds of the first groups, visiting with 2 junior and 1 senior band. Our News 5 team, comprising of guest reporter Brent Lopez and cameraman Daryl Miguel, were up and around and filed the following report.
Jump Street Passers Camp was the first mass camp to show off their costumes and moves. Marina Welcome is a veteran. She has been involved in Carnival for 37 long years. She has seen it all as it relates to Carnival and the experience of struggles and the sweet moments. This year, Welcome has a new perspective.
The theme is Myth of Our Beautiful Belize. It's the way that I see our rainforest, right? And I bring back Tata Duhende. I don't know if you know about Jijawap because you're young, right? But that's one of the characters that I have in there. We have the warriors, we have the panther, we have Raina the firebird, you know? A little touch of everything that I could have handled.
Okay, what inspired you to choose this theme this year?
I love my beautiful Belize. Right, so I temper with the rainforest and with the barrier reef.
I know that you're in this Carnival thing for 37 years now. How has it evolved, and what would you like to see done differently?
I think like giving back the starter funds would be an asset to the bands, right? Back in the days when I was on Jump Street, the media used to come around while the kids are practicing, right? Have us on news and things like that, and that would help because people would have literally called in and support your band, right? But now they are not hearing anything about the bands, you know? Then you get to have new bands that comes in and they are not hearing anything. So I think that's what part of what makes the sponsorship so hard.
Come September 7th at 1 o'clock Carnival Day. You ready?
Of course. All I have to do, do tomorrow is 7 nap pack and we are good to go.
Our second stop was over at Pickstock Carnival Band, where Garrett Gill had his band energized. Pickstock did not participate in last year's Carnival, but came out back with a bang this year. The band won Junior Carnival Queen and then placed second and third in the Junior Carnival Queen and King competition.
The theme for this year is we are doing Carnival 360, things that turn from one point to another point and to a future point. The first section is black and white. They're focusing on way back then when people didn't know anything about colors and feathers and beads and so on. So they turned from that and they decided to highlight themselves a little bit, and we decided to bring things of the present. And after which we have decided, you know what, things of the present is not much full for Carnival, so we want to go further by bringing things of the future, which is brighter things, you know, attractive things, colorful things, beautiful things. We have up to 80, but we cannot suffice 80 because we were lack of sponsors.
Are you ready for the road on September 7th, 1 o'clock?
Well, if we're not ready, we have to be ready, and because we can't say we're ready, we have to be ready when we get there. So we will be out there, you know, charming, putting on our show, getting ready for the road, doing our thing. We ain't gonna back down. We are coming hard than ever.
The night gained momentum as we made our third and final stop on Victoria Street, the home of senior band Mystical Version. While the band organizers have been facing their own challenges, they will be on the road on Saturday, September 7th. Their team, Secret of Victoria, with peace, love and unity, is dear to the organizers as it speaks to the ills of their community. Lead designer Michael Tucker explains the message is close to home.
This year team, we depicted a storyline of Secrets of Victoria. It is a community-based team based on the life of Joshua Abraham, who was killed back in 2001. We have three sections, that is the love, peace and unity. The team, actually, we took all the positive aspects from his life and depicted in this one storyline for Carnival 2019. The first section, which is love, is the red and silver section. The second section, which is unity, is the all color section. And the last section, which is peace, and is the white and gold section. We're almost ready, almost ready. Just a little touches here and there, and that should be it, basically.
So we're supposed to see mystical version on the road on September 7th.
Number 3 in the senior category.
Our coverage of the mass bands continues on Thursday. And that's the news. Don't forget that tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Marlene Cuellar. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.